The infinite game argues that business is not a competition, but an infinite journey, and that to do well in it, leaders must advance a just cause. Build trusting teams, learn from their worthy rivals, and practice existential flexibility. Favorite quote from the auto. Our lives are finite, but life is infinite. We are the finite players in the infinite game of life. We come and go, we're born and we die, and life still continues with us or without us. Simon Sinek. At one point, both Apple and Microsoft invited Simon Sinek to present at their education summits within the span of a few months. Comparing the two experiences after the fact, Sinek noticed some. At the Microsoft event, the majority of the presenters devoted a good portion of their presentations to talking about how they were going to beat Apple at the Apple event. 100% of the presenters spent 100% of their time talking about how Apple was trying to help teachers teach and help students learn. This marks the difference between a company that thinks with a finite mindset and one that thinks with an infinite mindset. The concept stems from a 1984 book by James Carse called Finite and Infinite Games in the Infinite Game. Sinek applies the concept to business. Infinite-minded companies last longer, achieve more, and are generally kinder and more beneficial to the world. Maintaining this mindset requires following a continuous 5-step cycle, Sinek says. 1. Advance at just cause. 2. Build trusting teams. 3. Learn from your worthy right. 4. Practice existential flexibility. 5. Demonstrate the courage to lead. In today's summary, we'll look at the basics of finite and infinite thinking, then dive deeper into your just cause and worthy rivals. 1. There are finite and infinite games. Business is an infinite game and must therefore be played as such too. A just cause is an appealing vision of the future that pulls people in, and it must satisfy 5 criteria to work. 3. Every infinite-minded business needs a worthy rival to learn from. Do you want to build a company that can last for generations? Then let's jump into the infinite game of business. Lesson 1. The world is full of both finite and infinite games, but business is infinite and must be played with an according mindset. Soccer is an excellent example of a finite game. There's a limited field on which the game is played. The rules are clear. There's a set time for when the game begins and ends. A mechanism for keeping score and a list of winners and losers after the fact. Naturally, finite games inspire short-term thinking. You have to win immediately, and the only way to win is to kick your opponent out of the game. Elections, casting shows, and all sporting competitions are finite. Teams, business relationships, and education, on the other hand, are infinite games. There's no defined beginning or end. New players join all the time, others leave. There are rules, but they too constantly change. What the players do once they're on the field is largely up to them, and the goal is to stay in the game rather than win. The world is full of both finite and infinite games, and problems occur when we play infinite games with a finite mind. That when the FIFA gave the 2022 World Cup to Qatar, for example, they did so primarily because they paid a lot of money. They also reneged on fan and player privileges like alcohol in stadiums, and the LGBT armband fans slammed the FIFA for its short-term thinking. They boycotted ticket sales, jerseys, and even stopped watching altogether. Business is an infinite game. If you play it, think long-term, cooperate with others, and try to keep playing rather than win. Lesson 2. Infinite thinking requires a just cause, and yours must meet 5 criteria to keep you advancing with purpose. Sinek quotes a study that suggests S&P 500 company lifespans have declined by over 40 years, from 61 on average to 18. Why fewer and fewer? Companies try to advance a just cause. A just cause is a specific vision of a future state that does not yet exist. A future state so appealing that people are willing to make sacrifices in order to help advance toward that vision. Sinek says it must have the following 5 traits. 1. It must be for something rather than just against something. Fighting for every human's right to eat is better than fighting against famine and starvation. 2. It must be inclusive. We'll only get excited about a vision we can see clearly. 3. It must be service-oriented. The primary beneficiary of the cause must be someone other than the business itself. 4. It must be resilient. Will you build trains instead of cars if that's where the world is? Headed you should. 5. It must be idealistic. Your vision should provide inspiration for generations, not be something you can get done by next week. At 4 minute. Books are just cause is this. We want to build a world in which every person reads at least one page a day and no human child or adult is afraid to open any. The book. Try defining one for yourself and see if it meets all the criteria. Now, before we get into lesson number 3, if you love learning and growing thanks to books like this one, you should download our free list of the 7 best self-help books of all time. After summarizing over 1,000 books, we handpicked these 7 top titles and curated them in a beautifully designed, easily shareable PDF. It will help you with your next great self-improvement read. Just enter your email using the link below. This video confirm your inbox and will instantly send you the list free of charge. Alright, let's dive into lesson number 3. Lesson 3. Worthy rivals feel like competitors, but they can actually help us learn and improve. For years, Sinek had a silent competition going with Adam Grant, author of originals. When he finally met him at an event, Sinek realized the way I saw him had nothing to do with him. It had to do with me. Instead of trying to beat his competitor, Sinek finally appreciated Grant as a worthy rival, someone whose strengths and skills he could learn from. Most of the time in business, the pie is big enough for everyone, and it's better to focus on growing the pie altogether than to try and snag pieces off your neighbor's plate. Analyzing a worthy rival will make you better at what you do. It will also help you gain clarity on why you're doing it. Embrace competitors as co-players and you'll slowly adopt a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, which will get you to focus on your just cause more so than whoever is about to beat you. This is what differentiated Apple from Microsoft through much of the early 2000s, and it's the reason it's still the most valuable company in the world today. I hope you like this summary. Please don't forget to like and share with your family and friends. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for daily new book summary related updates.